working the system and sticking to our mechanics and sequencing the play. So it's, you pick up the pivot foot, you referee the pivot foot to the legal release, and then you move on to the defender. So when our men and women are working best when we're sequencing that play constantly. So as soon as you get the catch of the ball, you get right to the pivot foot, you have the pivot foot, you're on that until the ball is put down legally, and then you move to the defender. You're doing that. You could tell your level of focus when you're picking up every pivot foot every time the ball swings in your primary.
Cool. The other thing there I was thinking about was now I'm seeing players, like you said, they practice these moves hours upon hours. And now I feel like there's even a bit of an art and a craft to developing moves that almost look like violations but are not. Like trying to come right to the edge of the rule but not going over the line. I'm seeing a lot of that now from particularly from social media, like on TikTok and Instagram. I see people showing plays. There's even one I've been seeing. It's not so close to the line of a violation or not, but I think it's called the Pinoy step. It came from the Philippines, and it's this kind of move where on the first step, it's like kind of a pump fake going up, and then it looks like they take an extra step because they go up a step earlier than
to show the ball real early in the move,
right? So it looks like there's an extra step in there, but then when you look at it, it's not. It's actually just the 2 steps.
Yeah. For me, that's really started with the step back, right? Because no one did a step back ever. People, it was always you gather the ball on your drive to the basket, you take your 2 steps, you lay it up, you dunk it, whatever. It was your steps after the gather were always going towards the basket. As long as basketball has been played, since Naismith came up with the peach basket, that's the way people did it. And then the step back came in. And so clearly that must be a travel because the steps they go counter to what people know. Again, it's for officials, it's not about how it looks. To Kane's point earlier, it's really about the mechanics of getting to their feet on the gather. And in the NBA, I can't speak to college, but in the NBA, if I gather the ball with my left foot on the floor, that is considered 0. Right? That is considered step 0. And I am allowed 2 steps in either direction, north, east, south, west, after that. And my step can be a foot, or if I'm 7 feet tall, my 1 step might be 3 feet. Right? And so if my 1 step is 3 feet long, I can theoretically probably cover 6 feet in 2 steps. That's all legal. And that's where, if we can educate fans and players and coaches and whoever else, that is what's important. It's not how the distance, it's not the direction. It's about gather on that foot is 0. You get 2 after that, and that's it. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, and I think that's in lies the big difference between like high school and college and the professional game is that I think when you gather the ball in the professional game, that's not your first step. So if that foot is on the ground when you gather the ball, it's not considered the first step. But in high school and college, it would be. So if you pick up the ball with a foot on the ground, you only get 1 more step after that. So the difference in the rule plays a big part of that kind of misconception that we don't call travels in the professional game. It's great to see though the social media play with it though. I've seen a couple of crazy ones where they're picking the ball up on the gather step right at the end of the step, so they're launching themselves and then spinning off that next foot and then landing on the other foot. So it's only 2 ridiculously long steps with a spin in between. And at first I was like, let's travel. And then you slow it down, slow motion, pause. No, it's not. So I hope they don't start using that in the game because it's too much. It's too much.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. When somebody sent that on the Instagram, the one that we saw, I watched it like 4 or 5 times at different speeds, and after the 5th time, I said, "I'm done. I have no idea. I know I did this for a living, but I don't know." I don't know what to tell you.
Some of this is like the difference between like theoretical mathematics and applied engineering. Like, okay, so theoretically, I guess it's not, but until I start seeing someone actually do this in a game. And Kane, maybe we saw the same one. I saw this one. This guy, he actually does a lot of these plays on Instagram. I got to look him up. I'll share it in we'll share it on TikTok and Instagram. But he came down on both feet, and then he did like a twirl in the air as his first step. And you're like, this is like, my brain is exploding right now. But yes, when you watch it a bunch of times, you're like, I see no travel in there, but it just feels like you said, as officials, you don't go for feel or look, like you go off of the mechanic, right? But yeah, as a fan, as someone that's not disciplined like that way, it just hurts my head sometimes.
That would hurt my head too. That was too much.
Yeah, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone.
I got some other stuff I wanted to chat about, but before I go there, anything else on traveling? Any other thoughts here on traveling? You guys want to excavate this topic any further?
I think it's always a fun topic to discuss. Everybody's played basketball at some point in their life, and so everybody thinks they're experts on travels. I get that because that's, they've played the game coming up, maybe just in a league or high school or some college. I would just say, hey, RefMasters is there to educate everybody. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to really just give people some insights as to there's no conspiracy here. There really isn't. If we do miss a travel, it truly is. It's a miss. That's it. I don't care who the dribbler is. I don't care who the team is. I don't care what the score is. I just missed it. So if that's one thing I could get across to folks about as it relates to travels, we do our best to get them right as often as we possibly can. But these folks are so good. They are so fast. We're not going to get them all. I'm not going to get them all. And when I get fooled, I'm watching the film to try to help myself get better at seeing that particular play. So the next time, hopefully I don't get fooled again.
So there isn't a section in the rule book that says that star players get an extra step or anything like that? Because I heard this conspiracy. It's like a flat earther conspiracy.
Yeah. I actually went to lunch yesterday with a buddy of mine, and he brought this up about the travel. And I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting because we're going to be talking about traveling on our podcast here coming up. But he started off literally with, so when LeBron does, and I'm like, oh, I immediately went to my head like, oh, here we go. If it's LeBron, KD, Steph, Tatum, you name them, everybody thinks we just, the rules don't apply. That's just not true. We just miss them.
We tend to miss more on the players who have the ball all the time. It's just math. They have the ball more. We're going to miss more plays for them. It's just math.
Yeah. So, there's nothing in the rule book that says this rule applies to every player except superstars. Doesn't exist. I know, even though I just said that, half the people that are going to watch this won't believe a word I just said. I already know that. So all I can do is say, hey, we're also looking for referees. If you can do it, please come on out. Come on out here and help us out. We would love to have you. And then, we'll critique your ability to get travels on the floor. Absolutely. And we'll do it with compassion.
Wait, with compassion? Are you sure?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That'll be fun. So you're not gonna stand there in the stands and yell, "Ref, you suck."
No.
Maybe the T-shirt, the RefMasters T-shirt.
Yeah.
I